Rev up your engines!
Delfano says, what should I buy in the future? Gas, electric, or hydrogen car? I got a 99 Buick Regal. It's still running, but I know it's going to fall apart eventually. When the time comes, should I get an electric car, a gas car, or a hydrogen vehicle? It's very hard to forecast the long-term future, right? As it stands today, I'd still get a gasoline car. There's gas all over the place. They talk about, well, we're going to ban the sale of gasoline cars by 2035 in California. Hey, that's still 13 years from now. You know, that's a long time. And that's just banning the sales of them, not the use of them, right? Nobody knows how electric cars are going to work, what system they're going to use. They certainly haven't perfected them yet, the battery electric cars. The hydrogen fuel cell cars that run on hydrogen, they work perfectly fine. They got that system out pretty good. The problem is, where's the hydrogen going to come from? They would have to make a massive change from gasoline to hydrogen stations. Then the hydrogen would have to be produced and mass produced at a cheap enough price. So that is so far in the future. I remember one of those Top Gear guys in England. He said, I love the Toyota Mirai. That's their hydrogen fuel cell car, right? He said, I love it. It was the best car I ever had, but I had to get rid of it. He said, what do you mean? It's the best car. Why are you getting rid of it? He said, yeah, there's only one hydrogen station in England. There's no way to get fuel for the thing. And he's telling the truth. So I'd still stick with gasoline if I were you. I mean, electric may not, but even if it does, the systems that are out today may not be the systems that succeed. And if you buy a shit system today, just imagine, down the line, oh, you can't get parts for it. They all fell apart. The company doesn't even exist anymore. Who knows? Who has any idea? They keep changing the technology. Nobody knows how long they're going to last. And of course, a lot of it too is to be how you drive. If you don't drive far, say 10, 15, 20 miles a day, you don't take long trips, yeah, a small electric car might be fine for you. But if you do a lot of long distance driving, no, it's a stupid idea. It doesn't work out right. So you got to think all that in there. But still, gasoline, it's going to be around for quite some time. Well, here's the reason that convenience gas stations aren't rushing to put in EV chargers. There's actually more than one reason, but the main one is moolah. You probably don't know because you're not commercial, right? Well, the commercial guys know when you have a surge in demand, you pay extra. Just like, let's say you got a job, you get a bonus. The bonus is taxed by the government, the same as you made that every day of the year, so you pay an outrageous tax on the bonus. That's just how the government works, right? Well, the electric companies work kind of the same way. If you get a giant surge in energy use, which is what happens when you use those fast chargers, the rate goes up. So if a company put in, let's say, 4 fast chargers, and they were using those fast chargers all the time, this one guy theorized that could cost up to $250,000 a year. It's not as simple as you plug it in, you get cheap electricity, and you drive away. The more you use fast electricity, the larger the use, the more you pay. And you pay different for them. It would be a complex mess. And of course, each area of the United States has different charges, different companies charge different stuff. And at $250,000, if they had 4 chargers going fast all the time, that's not the cost. That's the supplementary cost. That's the extra cost on top of what they're already paying for the electricity. That's what you get punished for if you use a bunch of electricity at once. 250 kilowatts is a tremendous amount of power. They're going to be paying up the nose for it. Of course, it'd have to be passed on. And of course, these gas stations, they have no interest in getting involved in these insane charges. So that's why they're not following up. Plus, everybody knows there aren't that many electric cars in many areas. They'd be building something, putting all this investment in, and they'd never recoup their investment. I'm looking at old Elon Musk at Tesla. He keeps raising the price of his cars. They start putting in these stations, they're going to have to keep raising the charges what it costs to charge them up. It's only common sense. Now, these demand charges, the extra charges, they can make up to 90% of the cost of electricity that the station itself has to pay to the electric company. Even if they're only charging one car at a supercharging rate, it costs more. 4 is going to cost even more, but even 1 raises the rate up the roof. These things are tremendous energy hogs. Plus, as I've warned people, you get a lithium-ion battery. The faster you charge it, the faster it wears out. You lose the lifespan, the percentage that it can power. It gets hot, real hot when you do that. They do have cooling systems cooling down, but it's an inefficient process that ends up destroying the battery quicker. Anybody who knows lithium-ion batteries, the best way to charge them is slow, not fast. But people are in a hurry, so they want to charge them fast, which destroys the batteries. I mean, the whole thing is like a giant rat's nest if you start taking it apart. This is just one piece. Gas stations are saying, we don't want to stick these chargers in. It's going to be a big pain in the butt. Going to cost us a lot of money. We're not going to make any profit when it turns to what we pay to put it in, what we pay for the electricity, then what we charge out. It's just a big rat's nest. Snoopy Lover 1964 says, my transmission oil temperature light turns on when I do uphill drives on a highway. I got a 2013 Jeep Compass with CVT. It starts getting high when I go up. I take it to the dealer. They said, oh, that's normal. It's going to get hot. And I have 111,352 miles. And I'm worried it's going to get worse. You bought a Jeep with a CVT. They're not very good transmissions. Made by Fiat Chrysler. Quality just went when they bought them, got even worse than it was. Strangely enough, when it was Daimler Chrysler, the Germans owned them, quality started to go up, but then the Germans lost so much money, they sold it in Fiat. They're not known for quality to begin with. Chrysler products have all gone down too. Unfortunately, you have a CVT transmission. They have all kinds of belts and pulleys. Yours are probably starting to wear and slip. And guess what happens? When something slips, it gets hot. Then the temperature of the fluid goes up. Transmission's hot, the fluid's in there to try to cool it down and lubricate it, and the temperature goes up. You're going to need another transmission if you keep the thing any length of time. Price around, you're probably crapping your pants when you find out what it costs. Let me tell you something else. Unless you get a factory remanufactured one, these clowns at the transmission shops, I found they have no idea how to rebuild these things. I've seen tons of them get rebuilt at one of these tranny shops, and they never worked right again. They worked, but they slip, and then years later, they completely go out. I mean, they're not that easy to rebuild, right? I know guys younger than me that retired because they had tranny shops. They said, oh, this new stuff is just, no one's going to be able to fix it economically. It's going to cost a fortune to fix it correctly. No one will pay that money. So I either won't get any jobs or I got to fix them cheaper and hope they last for a while. In your case, my advice would be, you said it only does it when it goes uphill. It's starting to overheat, right? Trade the thing in. They're still getting high trade-in values. Go to Carvana, CarMax, whatever. See if they give you good bucks for it. People like Jeeps. Getting that thing fixed, one, it's going to cost a fortune, but two, it might not even be done correctly. They're not very good transmissions. You got a broken transmission. It's breaking down. Somebody fixes it. It's not as good as new one. It's just a broken one that's been fixed. If I were you, I'd trade that thing in while the prices are still high. Swell Boss says, where am I losing oil on my Dodge Ram from? I got an 05 Ram, 156,000 miles, 3.7 liter. Past 3 years, it loses about 2 to 3 quarts every 2,000 to 3,000 miles. I don't see leaks or smoke. I replaced the PCV valves. Doesn't make any difference. What could it be? He did mention, gee, maybe it's a bad PCV valve. Well, that's real easy to test. You probably bought yours at a discount auto parts store, right? So go to the dealer, buy the factory one. That's the correct one. If it stops, great. It was a crappy PCV valve. Realize all PCV valves are not made alike. A lot of these discount ones, look at the package, turn around, made in China. A lot of them are made like crap, they don't work right. Pray it's that, because if it's not that, your engine's just worn and your piston rings are worn. And it'll just keep burning on. Those engines are notorious for being oil burners. When they get over 100,000, you got 156,000 miles on that thing. That's a lot of miles. Everything wears out eventually. Dodge products wear out faster than most. So pray it's a PCV valve. Hey, go get an OEM one and then you learn a lesson. Stuff like that, only go original equipment manufacturer. Don't buy aftermarket because the aftermarket crap is often just that cheap junk made in China. Doesn't work right. The ball doesn't seat. If the ball doesn't seat, instead of just getting vapor, it'll also suck in oil and then burn out. Pray it's that, because if not, your engine's going to need a rebuild. Olivier 828 says, I have an AC issue with my 2016 Camry. Sometimes it doesn't blow cold, and then in 3 minutes it does. Sometimes I shut it off and turn it on, and it doesn't blow cold until 5 minutes. Doesn't seem to be leaking anywhere. What could be wrong? You can't say it doesn't seem to be leaking because refrigerant gas is invisible. You can't see the stuff. Now, when I look for leaks, I have an electric sniffer. It's a machine that you turn on, it goes beep, 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 and when you get to where it leaks, it goes beep, 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 and you can tell where it's leaking. You can also use AC leak dye. Put it in the system. You can see where the yellow dye comes out when you use yellow sunglasses and the UV light. It'll shine like mad, and you'll see where the leak's coming from, right? Often it's just low on refrigerant. A 7-year-old car, they will leak a little. Might just need to be refilled. I refilled my son's Corolla the other day, and it works fine. Pray it's just that. Now, if it's not that, then you got some kind of electronic problem. Sometimes the relay for the AC relay can go bad. It's a computer part. You might just go to the Toyota dealer and buy an AC relay for the compressor, put it in the box, it just unplugs and plugs in. If that fixes it, great. More often, though, you're just low on refrigerant. Have it checked and have it filled up if it got low. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.